Commercial bakeries face risks from fire hazards, equipment breakdowns, product liability and contamination, employee injuries, supply chain issues, and a whole lot more. And the monthly insurance payment is pretty significant, so you want to make sure you're maximizing your purchasing power and getting the most value from your insurance program. How do you do that? How do you know that you have the right protection and paying the right price? Shopping around an account is a big pain in the butt, and the policies are so darn confusing. If you face these questions and issues, then this video is right for you. In my opinion, getting your insurance program right is having a combination of robust protection, high-touch customer service, risk control services, competitive pricing, and most of all, peace of mind. That may seem like a tall order, but it is achievable, and in this guide, I'm going to show you how it can be done and done effectively. Hi, I'm Gordon Coyle. Welcome to my channel where we talk about the risk and insurance issues on the minds of business owners. As an expert business insurance broker, these videos are intended to help guide and educate decision makers to help make you a more informed insurance buyer. If I don't answer the question on your mind that brought you to this video, reach out and let's connect. I'd love to hear from you. Okay, so how do you reach this sort of insurance nirvana state of mind where you have the right protection at the right price and you're doing everything you need to do to control that risk, to maintain a low price, and you've got a reliable relationship with your insurance broker so they will jump through the hoops for you when you need them to. Oh, and you've got the peace of mind you really want to be able to sleep at night. The advice I'm going to give you comes from my 40 plus years as a commercial insurance broker, and this conversation has been built on hundreds of client relationships that are and were both good and bad. I'm going to give you my insights based on real life examples of how I've seen things work and frankly, not work so well. So where do you start? I think the biggest first step is to select a broker who has the skill set you're looking for, and that will include the following traits. They are skilled, knowledgeable, well-versed, and have a strong background in coverages and risks when it comes to commercial insurance. I would avoid using a broker that claims to be an expert in home and auto insurance as well as business insurance and life or health insurance. The insurance business has become so complex that it's rather impossible to be an expert in all segments of the insurance business, so working with a dedicated expert is going to be your best bet. When it comes to the broker selection process, it's of course not just the salesperson that's important. It's also critical that they have a team of people behind them to service your account and be ready for day-to-day matters. So finding the right expert that has an expert team behind them to support you is critically important. Unfortunately, this first step is often overlooked and glossed over when there's an insurance renewal date approaching, and the lowest price proposal or the most charismatic salesperson becomes your broker in the rush to secure the best renewal terms. For this reason, it makes sense to not start the broker selection process in the last 100 days of your policy term. By then, it may be too late to make the wisest choice. In my mind, one of the biggest issues or considerations missing when going through this process is that clients will expect their brokers to operate in a communication vacuum, which is not good. What I mean here is that if you want to achieve the peace of mind you're seeking, you're going to need to really communicate issues up front and through the entire process with your new broker. Giving them your policies and the nickel tour isn't going to cut it. You, as the client, need to clearly communicate what you're hoping for, what your concerns are, what your fears are, what you hold dear, and what you want to achieve in this relationship. The better job you do to have this open channel of communication, the better off you'll be. So step 2 is the coverage audit. The skilled broker you select in step 1 will likely recommend a coverage audit or review as a starting point in their engagement. This review will help identify deficiencies, overlaps, gaps, or incorrect elements of your existing policies and what enhancements should be considered. This is a first good step to assess where you are coverage-wise and where your new expert thinks you should go. I just mentioned communications, and in this step of the new broker process, I would recommend writing a memo with the issues and concerns you've had with your insurance in the past. These issues could be uncovered claims, shortfalls in claims, poor service experiences, and other issues you've not been wild about in the past. Send that memo to the new broker and then schedule a call to go over it during their coverage audit, as it'll likely trigger better advice from them in their final report. Upon completion of the report, there should be a discussion of the deficiencies and to prioritize the needed improvements along with some ideas of how much those improvements are going to cost. Yeah, it would be great to get every improvement you want done in year one. But if your budget can't support it, you need to have a realistic phase-in with these improvements. When we have performed these audits for bakeries, we have consistently found these top 5 issues needing to be addressed. The first one is property limits. They are insufficient. Building contents and business interruption values are often well below replacement cost levels and haven't been addressed properly for years. This is a big deal that needs to be addressed. Number 2, excess liability limits are also insufficient. And what I mean here is that the bakery's general liability limit of $1 million, and then there's usually a $1 million umbrella policy in place. If there's a commercial auto exposure, that policy is often $1 million as well and is included in the schedule of underlying policies. Excess or umbrella liability coverage is basically the cheapest but most valuable form of coverage you can get. So we recommend looking at higher limits based on the size of the company and buying up. Number 3, cyber insurance is often not purchased, and the reason it's not is surprising. It's not because the business owner didn't want to buy it. It's often because the insurance broker hasn't recommended it or explained it thoroughly enough to get the bakery to purchase it. Cyber risk is the most frequent cause of loss within the small and medium-sized bakery businesses and has the potential for catastrophic damage, especially when process machinery is connected to the company's computer network. Number 4 is crime insurance, which is often missing or deficient, and it's left to the coverages found in the bakery's business owner's policy or BOP policy, where the limits of protection are typically limited to $25,000. The recommendation to include a standalone crime policy in a baker's insurance program will be based on the size of the company. It may be perfectly fine for a small retail bakery to have a crime coverage within their BOP policy with the limits of $25,000 I mentioned, but for a larger operation doing several million dollars a year in sales, higher limits of protection from employee embezzlement, computer fraud, forgery and alteration, and other crime perils should be considered. Number 5, product recall coverage is often limited to a small sublimit within a bakery's package policy when it's available, which can be anywhere between $25,000 and $250,000. But the scope of coverage is very limited as well. The potential for catastrophic loss from a contamination event or recall is significant, so we often will recommend a standalone recall policy. Okay, moving on to step 3, the claim and loss control review. In my mind, this step is often overlooked in the insurance procurement process, which is unfortunate because it has such a significant impact not only on the premiums you'll pay, but also the costs you'll pay with each claim that is not reimbursed by insurance. For large companies, the process of viewing all of the costs related to business risk is called TCOR, or Total Cost of Risk, and it incorporates the insured and the uninsured costs of running a business. Let's start with a claim review. To perform this review, you'll need to get your loss runs for all lines of coverage for the past 5 years, and you get them from your current and past brokers during that 5-year time frame. A word of caution here. When you request loss runs from your current broker, it's going to send up red flags with them that you're going to be shopping your insurance, which may trigger them to begin the shopping process immediately without you really wanting them to do that. To prevent this, you need to be upfront about the reason you need the loss run information and that you're not going to market, but rather doing an evaluation of your claims. It also makes sense to tell them not to overreact and begin any sort of shopping process. Loss runs should be back to you within a week. If they're not, your current broker may be sitting on your request, worried that they're going to lose your account. There's nothing you can do about that other than be persistent and keep asking for them. In states like New York, an insurer has 10 days to return loss information to the insured from the date requested. Check your state requirements and then press them if necessary. The most common claims we see for bakeries are worker injuries involving burns, repetitive motion injuries, cuts, and abrasions. Operationally, we see equipment failures that result in loss of refrigeration claims or machinery downtime business interruption claims. Then there are claims related to theft, vandalism, and occasional product liability claims. Every account has their own issues, but few large bakeries have no claims over a 5-year period. Okay, so now you have a stack of PDFs from each policy with the claims that have occurred over the past 5 years. Now what? When we do this, we take that info and we begin to ask you what happened with each of these claims. At least for those that are over a certain dollar threshold, You'll explain the scenario of each claim event. The next most important step we ask is, what steps have you taken to prevent this claim from occurring again? This is the crux of how you build out your loss control program. The claims you've experienced in the past will likely repeat themselves in the future if conditions that existed in the past have not been changed. What we're looking for are opportunities for better outcomes, which means fewer claims and less expensive claims. Why? Because the price you pay for insurance is heavily weighted by your claims experience. In order to do better in the marketplace, especially in a hard market condition like we're experiencing now in 2024, clients with a better than average claims experience will do much better than their peers with below average claims experience. This is true for bakeries as it is for any other type of business. The way you reduce claim frequency and severity is to recognize why a prior claim has occurred and then change the conditions that cause that claim. I could write volumes around risk control, but for now my advice is that you need to address the specific issues in your bakery that have triggered claims in the past, whether that's worker injury claims, slip and fall type claims, auto accidents, and other types of claims. A skilled broker should be able to help you with the 4 basic steps of risk management, which are 1, identify and categorize the risks you've experienced. 2, assess the potential risks from reoccurring. 3, treat the risks, meaning educate and train employees on prevention, remove the hazards that cause the accident, and then create accountability around that risk. Finally is 4, continue to monitor and report on that risk. Here's the bottom line around claim reviews and risk management. The best performing companies in the world take claims and risk management extremely seriously, not just to reduce costs, but also to reduce unneeded human pain and suffering, to reduce unnecessary waste, and to be a good corporate citizen. It may sound altruistic, but it's a great goal for small and medium-sized businesses to shoot for, and it really can help your bottom line as well. Putting it all together, I've talked about coverage elements and getting it right, as well as claims and risk management and getting that right. Now, in step 4 is putting those 2 things together in an effective submission to a select group of underwriters in the insurance marketplace. Too often, the typical broker process is to send out a set of applications and loss runs to every insurer they represent and hope for the best. This approach will return results, but it may not be the best results. Why? Because the average underwriter has 2 to 3 times the number of new business submissions on their desk at any one time that is humanly possible to manage. They, like everyone in the world today, is overwhelmed at work. So they need to choose wisely which accounts will get their full attention and their best pricing. To achieve that, a skilled broker will have conversations with their best underwriters who they know are aggressively interested in writing bakery accounts. They will sell your account to the most interested underwriters and provide them more than just the basic data to get a quote. They will formulate a submission that includes all of the coverage information we talked about in step 2, and more importantly, they will write a narrative to the loss run information that discusses what steps you've taken to prevent each claim from occurring again that we talked about in step 3. This is where the rubber meets the road. If you want to achieve above average results, you need to have an above average broker leading the charge in a manner that is different than what most other brokers do, which, quite frankly, is expending the least amount of effort to get a quote. What you're looking for are results, and a skilled broker following these steps in a proactive manner is going to get you the results you want. All right, this has been a long video, so we're up to the conclusion. I've covered a lot of ground here, and if you've made it this far and continued watching, you're probably wondering, how do I find a broker like that who has a system and a process to get the better than average results for your bakery and can provide you the ongoing insight, advice, services, and support during the life of your business insurance relationship? If you can't tell, that's sort of a leading question and a sales pitch. The answer is that the Coyle Group has this system built and can provide you the resources and expert guidance and advice on creating the best outcomes for your next renewal. If you're not happy with your current broker relationship and that's what's caused you to click on this video, then I'd encourage you to contact us for a conversation. When I say there's no obligation and that there's not going to be any heavy-duty sales tricks, I mean it. The goal of an intro conversation is to see if we might be a good fit for you and your situation. It's not to sell you on doing business with us or making you feel obligated to take the next step. You may also question, does it make sense to do business with a broker who isn't local? I'm located in the New York metropolitan area, and if you're not in this area, here's my advice. Reach out and let's connect and have that conversation. Let's see what the issues are and if we could resolve them without being local to you. If that means a visit with you, let's see if that's economically realistic. The truth is that we have clients from all over the country, and not being local to them hasn't proven to be a problem yet. The bottom line is that if you're looking for an advocate who can do the best job possible for you and your bakery insurance, the Coyle Group is here, ready to assist you. My contact info is in the description box below, and I welcome your call or your email. And in fact, you can book a call directly on my calendar if you'd like. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this helpful and informative. If you did, do me a favor and hit that like button and subscribe. Thanks.